D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So I watched the latest episode of the Orville. And before I get started on the breakdown, I just want to say a couple of things about my last episode, okay? Because some of you responded that I was like a little out of it and unprepared. And you're totally right. You're totally right. I was unprepared. I had watched the night before, and then the day before that, I hadn't slept very well because I was watching other shows. This YouTube thing is getting very crazy. But I just so, and then also I hadn't watched season 1 and season 2 to remind myself certain things going on, and I'm not going to, you guys. I don't have time for that. So if I forget something that happened season 1, season 2, calm down. It's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal. All right. You guys aren't like, I don't think you're angry about it, because I mean, or at least none of the comments I thought anybody was angry. Like, none of it came off as like mad. Just, a lot of the whole, you just seems not unprepared. That was like a main thing. And I get it. And I'm sorry about that. I just, like I said, and plus I have a lot of things going on in my personal life. I got 2 kids and everything. So things can get a little hectic. Okay. So I just want to, but I do want to appreciate, but I just want you to know this episode, I did put in the time, because I've always said with like Star Trek Discovery, I don't put in the time and do notes because they don't put in time to write a good show. And I was like, you know what? The Orville, they have put in the work, the effort to make a good show. I'm going to put in the work and effort to cover this show. So I watched it a couple of times. I didn't write down every single word for word, but I did write some stuff down because I was like, you know what, I would like to cover this thoroughly and everything. Now, this episode, it wasn't as message heavy as the last episode was when it dealt with the subject of suicide and everything, but this one was still a good episode. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It scared me at times. It had this horror movie aspect to it, which isn't new to Star Trek. They always have that suspense and then the monster reveal kind of thing, which I appreciated and I loved it. It was great. Although the monsters grossed me out. I'll tell you when they did, when they really grossed me out. Or the aliens or whatever. But I really liked it a lot. And I really appreciate this show. Now that I've said all that and everything, I just want to say that before I get started on this breakdown, if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we always get shoved to the back of the line. So please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. So now that I've said all of that, let's get started on this breakdown. So it starts off on the Orville, and they're going to their morning briefing or whatnot. And it says, so they've been advised to pick up Vice Admiral Christie and then transport him to rendezvous with a krill vessel. And once there, the Admiral will begin negotiations to allow Union access to the nanaka sector, which is on the other side of the krill space. And they wish to have Union ships, which the Union ships have never had conduit until now. And that is if the negotiations go well. Sorry, I typoed on my notes here. The negotiations go well, the crew may be allowed passage, which means an entire regions of unexplored space will be wide open to the Union. Now they talk about Christie, who is one of the top Union diplomats, and he was responsible for negotiating the Dinjan Accords, and just so happens to be the ex-husband of the Dr. Finn. Hold on, I got to. And as soon as they mention his name, Christie's name, she goes like full on like what? And everything. She goes into memory mode. Memories. Look, there she is. She's just all straight up like the corners of my mind, misty watercolored memories. Anyways, okay. No more singing. Anyways. So, and then, what is her name? Her name is, hold on, I have the Tala Kaylee. She's like, doctor, are you okay? And she's like, oh yeah. I I just didn't get enough sleep last night. Isn't that the excuse you give to people when you're having like a real crap day and you just want to be left alone and you're just not in the mood? Isn't that what you always say to people? That's what I always say to people, like, hey, you all right? Oh yeah, I just didn't sleep well, or I'm tired. That's what I always say, because I'm like, it's just one of those things where you're just like, oh, just leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to mess with you people today. So then the crew is hopeful that they'll be the ship that gets in on going through the krill space, considering the fact that they were the ones that they shepherd the Lock Vab Pact. I don't know if that's how you say it. And they are an explorer, and the fact that they are an exploration vessel. So they're like, break, go team, go. So they get here. And they get to the space station where they're picking up Christie. And Christie comes into her office and he's like, hey, kid, and everything. She's like, and she stands up. She's like, Admiral, sir. And he's like, oh, you're going to stand now. And she says, it's 101, rule 101 and everything. You stand in the presence of an admiral. And he's all like, all right, stand down. He's like, it's Admiral Paul to you. And it's a Paul. And she's like, Admiral Paul and everything. And he's like, look at you. You got your own sick bay. You must have had some good professors at the academy or whatnot. She's like, yeah, I had the best. And he's like, well, this one's proud of you and everything. So they're sitting here chit-chatting, and they obviously had a relationship and everything. And he talks, and she's all like, you didn't do this you didn't come on this mission just because of me. And he's like, no. He's like, as an admiral, they stick me behind a desk most of the time. But I'm not going to lie, the fact that I saw your name on the crew list, it kind of, perked my ears up a little bit. So he's all like, how you doing? And so then he's sitting there and they're just doing little chatter, chit. And he's like, hey, maybe we can get like a cup of coffee or something. She's like, I don't know. Friday night I'm with my kids. And he's like, oh, you have kids? And she's like, yeah, 2 boys and everything. And she's all like, listen, she's like, Paul, it's good to see you, but we need to keep this professional. And she's right. Even if she did have feelings, it's like when you're on the mission, it's like, try to stay focused, honeybee. Come on. Sorry, you guys. I've had a rough day already, and I need more caffeine. I'm trying to get pumped and everything. Anyway, so he's like, yeah, that sounds great and everything. So he ends up leaving, and then they're at the negotiations. But they're having a little soiree beforehand, and the Kriller is like, I do not see the point in this. And they're like, well, it's kind of like a human tradition, an Earth tradition, to get together and get to know each other before, the formalities and everything. And I like how Captain's all like, I think I speak for everyone when I say we very much hope that this temporary alliance will become permanent. And then I like how this crow guy's all like, do not hope too fervently. Once the what are they called? The robot people are crushed. The alliance will be dissolved. Only then will we celebrate. And I'm all like, okay, calm down, cutie. And then I love how Andrea Padalecki, she's all like, or Grayson, she's all like, yeah, but yeah, and everything. She's just all like, what's a little too serious there, okay, lizard face. Very funny. And I love how Bortus is like, he picks up this little thing and he's like, and he like smells it and then he puts it back down. I was like, I wonder what it was, because it just looks like a veggie cup to me. Like, I wonder if it was just they don't eat vegetables on his planet. Anyways, so then we hear a little dinging, like a little hold on, and everything. And the Admiral gets up and he says, it's not every day one gets a chance to be a part of history. But tonight, history is being made in this room. As we prepare to begin an epic journey into unexplored realms, we also take this next step toward healing the wounds of the past and forging a new path toward lasting friendship. Here's to a better future. And everybody's like, yay. So the doctor, Finn, she goes over and grabs a bottle of wine. It looks like a rosé or maybe like a white Zinfandel or a pink Moscato. I personally wouldn't have picked that one, but hey, whatever, it's fine. And she goes over to Grayson, and she's like, "Hey, you want to get out of here with me and everything?" And she's like, "With you? Of course." And she's like, and then she's like, "The captain." She's like, "Hey, you stay here and cover for me. I'll owe you one," kind of thing. He stays and everything. So they go back to, I believe it's the doctor's quarters. Don't quote me on that. Don't get mad at me for the tiny things. This could be Grayson's quarters. I'm not quite sure, but please don't get mad at me, okay? And they're talking, and the doctor says, she's like, I read in an old book one time a quote, and it said, "It is only with greatest care that memory can be kept from becoming a prison or a gallows." And when she said that, I was like, "Ooh, I wonder what book that was from. I'm gonna go look that up." I didn't look up the book because I needed to do this. So, but I was like, that's a good quote. And then she tells Grace, and she's like, I was married once. She's like, "You were married?" And she's like, "How come you never told me?" She's like, "I don't like to speak about it." And I was like, "Yeah, until now, because you brought her to your quarters so you could speak about it. That's the only reason you did this. Come on." But it's fine. It's like, whatever. These girl talk and everything. So she's like, "Who was it?" She's like, "It was Admiral Christie." And she talks about their relationship. She talks about their relationship and how when she was at university, it was her last year of school, and they started seeing each other secretly. Then she graduated, and then 6 months later they were married. And they told everybody it was just like really fast relationship and everything, but everybody kind of didn't. It was the worst kept secret kind of thing. And that when she felt that when they were together, all he really wanted was a young woman at home be waiting for him, and that's not what she wanted. And that's what they had when they were, when she was in school. But when she got out of school, she wanted more than just being, a housewife kind of thing. And so she said she gave him an ultimatum, and he chose not her. And and everything. And then they make this funny joke about it. He's like, "Hey, those two krill guys are there." And then Grayson's all like, "I don't like to date guys that dress more glam than me." And it made me go, like, I went back and looked at their outfits. I was like, this is glam. I was like, I mean, maybe, I don't know. It looked like all the krill dressed like that. But hey, it's cool. It's totally cool. So then they do this wide shot, which I said this in my last episode. I'm gonna say it again. I love the ships in this show. Like, I always like watch Discovery and like New Trek, and I'm all like, their ships are ugly. Like, except for like, the Enterprise. The Enterprise is beautiful, but like, I really like the Orville. I have a twin brother, and I swear we disagree on everything. But he just started watching the Orville, and he does not like the Orville. He says the ships are ugly, but I like it. I like the three, engines, and everything that in there. Well, yeah, nacelles. They're not nacelles, but and I like the krill ship too. They're different, but they're so sleek, and I love the hard lines and everything. It's anyways. Okay, I'm sorry. Went on a little rant, whatever there. So they're sitting there, and the krill are like, "We have considered your request for passage through our territory, and we are prepared to grant it, but there are certain conditions." And they're like, "We're listening." They're like, "There is an uninhabited planet in Union space that is rich with Harkarium, and the krill use it in their propulsion systems, and they wish to secure extraction rights to it's the third planet in the something system. I can't remember. So they're like, we have to talk to the Union about that, but I'm pretty sure that won't be a problem. And they also say passage will be allowed for only one vessel alone, and if there are no incidences, they will consider further allowances as far as other ships go. And then the vessel will follow a certain course through the Naklav sector, and any deviation will be forbidden. so far so good. They're all like, okay, these are not too bad. And then then they go on to say that upon entry into their territory, the Orville, in this case it ends up being the Orville, but you knew they was going to be, it's the name of the show. The Orville will have a tracking beacon installed on their ship so that the krill can monitor their coordinates at all times. Now and then sorry, I messed up my notes, you guys, just like 2 seconds. Oh no. So then there's gosh, if I could get there to it. So then Grayson, hold on, I'm reading my notes and I'm not doing this thing. So Grayson, she says that this is a violation of their security protocols. And they're just like, you know, this is what you're gonna do, hooker face. So then they start talking about so then the admiral, Christie, mentions that they would appreciate any information from their cartographers about the collar expanse. I don't know if I said that right. I wrote it down in my notes, but I don't know if I said it right. Don't get mad, okay? Come on, you guys are better than that. The krill then start questioning them about them entering the expanse, and they ask them why. It didn't go on, and then the krill go on to say that it is a dominion, it's a domain of evil that demons dwell within the expanse. Oh man, I just messed up my notes again. Ooh, I'm getting so mad at myself. Yeah, they're, hold on, let me get to their face. Oh, here's what they go. It's like gosh, a domain of evil that demons dwell within the expanse, that the Ankana warns of shadow realms, gateways to the depths of the underworld, where demons lie in wait to possess the souls of those who dare to stray within their reach. They corrupt all that is holy within their grasp. Even the most righteous can be forced to commit unspeakable acts of depravity. And then when asked if they have direct evidence that these demons really exist, they didn't say it. And so it's gosh. So they asked for evidence if these demons really exist, and then the krill say that it's in the Ankana, and then that's all the evidence that they need is the fact that it's in their Bible and everything. So then that ends pretty much that scene. So then they go to, the krill are going to leave, and this one right here, I don't remember if he's the ambassador or whatever, but the krill, the diplomats, they are going to, one of them says something, and he says oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot to say that before this, they said the line that was in the trailer, and they say that, listen, we are not going to stop you from going into the expanse, but we are not going to save you. And I was like, shoot, man. And so then while they're leaving, one of the krill, he says some krill words and everything. And when he was asked by the security lady what he said, he's all like, it is a prayer for those who are about to die. And I was like, oh, and they're like, oh, okay, great. Bye. I was like, man, these guys are real serious. This is a serious race of people. So then the admiral, he's talking to them about how, he's all like, did you take it seriously? And they're like, well, we should take it seriously, because even though, and the admiral Christie like scoffs it off as just religious nonsense. He's like, because they're like, this is confusing. And he's all like, yeah, well, all religions are confusing. How do you think priests stay in business? Now, I didn't like this line. I felt like it was kind of they do a couple of nudges here. This one I felt like, let's not like diss on religion. I mean, like, and I'm talking about all religions, but I don't know. I don't like it. I don't crap on your religion. I mean, well, anyways. So, okay. But then they're all talking about like, hey, but they say ipso facto, I didn't write down the lines here, but they say basically like, all stories come from some kind of truth, maybe it didn't happen exactly as it was written down, but, something happened kind of thing. And they're just basically like, hey, we should just, be cautious a little bit kind of thing. So then back at this little restaurant, it's a little cozy little place. Christie comes in. I like his jacket. And he sees Dr. Finn sitting there and he's like, hey, and everything. I thought I'd see you here. Yeah, because you asked around. You knew she was here. And she's like, I like to come here and work, when I'm, when my kids are driving me mental. And I'm like, oh, honey, I get you. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 kids. They drive me mental all the time. They are full of beans, as the British would say. They are go, 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 go. And I'm all like, hey, I need a break. I'm old. So he's like, hey, can I join you? And he sits down and he's all like, it's so good to see you and everything. And they talk about a little cafe they went to, Cafe Navage or some crap like that. And he's like, man, I really missed you. And he shows her this ring, and it's made of Celine sandstone, which is a rare metal and everything. And both their rings were. And he's like, she's like, you still have it? And he's like, yeah, I wear it for luck. When I go when I used to go on missions or whatnot. And he's like, do you still have yours? And she's like, no. And she's all like, listen, she's like, getting over you took a lot of work, because there was a lot of hurt there. You hurt me bad, dude. She's like, and I don't want to bring that stuff back up and everything. He's like, I get it and everything. So he puts it on. He's like, for luck. And he does, and he knocks on the table. And then they're getting hands are getting all ready for the big move into krill space and everything. They're getting everything ready. And she's like, hey, you gotta, give your little speech. He's like, oh crap, I was gonna write something down last night, but I didn't. She's like, you know what? Just speak from the heart. And this is from the trailer and everything. And he says, all hands. This is the captain. We're about to enter unexplored space. I know you're all just as excited as I am. And I know you're all going to do your best. So let's give this everything we got. And may the force be with you. Which a small piece of me was like, was that a nudge at Star Wars, their TV shows? Because their TV shows suck, basically. If you're watching Obi-Wan, but it was, and he's like, how was that? And she's like, perfect. And I was like, hey, that was great. So then back in, I don't know what area of the ship this in. I can't remember. But Christie comes in. He's like, hey, you're Isaac. He's like, I am, sir. And he's like, am I bothering you? I love how everybody, am I bothering you? Am I bothering, are you doing something important and everything? And he's like, and he always, yes, I am. And I love Isaac. He's great. Because he's like, everybody that asks him, like, am I bothering you for doing something important? He's like, yeah, you are. It's so good. But he comes in here and he talks about how, he is the only one of his people that helped out. And he saved a lot of lives and everything. And he's like, yes, sir, it was in my report. And he's like, you also dated Dr. Finn. And he's like, I wanted to talk to you about that. If it doesn't make you uncomfortable, because, I just wanted to know what she's into. And he's all like, well, she values her children above all else, but she likes singing and dancing and music and all that stuff. And then he goes, he's like, some of the sexual positions she likes. And he's like, that's a little too much. I didn't need to know that kind of thing. Yeah, and that was pretty much that episode. It was like, I would say it was a little awkward, like 2 exes talking about a woman they dated. I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd be like, I'm not really, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. So then they finally get to the Nakavalov sector, sorry. And it's very pretty. And Isaac goes over some stats of it. And he says, an OB association approximately 2 million years old, 78 blue giant stars, along with several dozen of F, G, and K stars in later stages of evolution. 340. Oh, and then what's her face? Burke. Is that her name? The new girl. Yeah, Burke. She says, it's like Vegas, kind of like Vegas. And then he goes 347 habitable planets, but so far no indications of intelligent life. And then Gordon goes, it is like Vegas. And I go, Vegas is still the same in the future. So then he goes, where was I? The expanse appears to be almost entirely empty space. There is one star system approximately 30.6 light years from the coordinates of the distress signal. Oh, yeah, because the what's her face, Kaylee, she gets she gets a distress signal in the Kalar system. So it's the distress signal is 30.6 light years away from those coordinates. But they go anyways. They go to the distress signal because they're the Union, and that's what the Union does. They go and they help people out if in need. So they get there and it's all black. They see and Bert's all like, there's no stars. And it's kind of daunting because it's just like you can see it. I grabbed it because like you just see it right there. It's just like this little speck in this giant black hole kind of thing. In the emptiness of space. And they finally come across what looks like a space station. And they're not getting any life readings or whatnot. So they decide they're going to go on a shuttle and go over. So they get in the shuttle. They go in to the domain of evil. And they go in and there's all this like mold and stuff all over and everything. And the doctor's all like, don't touch anything. Because what's her face? Grayson goes to touch the walls or whatever. She's like, don't touch anything. And everybody, you should like you as a viewer know when you go in an alien spaceship like this, don't touch anything because you don't know why it's empty. You don't know what's going on. And they wear them later. They wear these suits, but I would have worn a little hazmat suit before I went in there. I'd be like, I'm not going in there without a hazmat suit, guys. I don't know what's going on in there because they do say that it's breathable air, but I would be like, no, I'm not going in there without a hazmat suit. Nope. Daddy ain't doing it. Oh, that's when she goes to touch him and she's like, don't touch anything. So they find the source. This is the source of the distress signal. And then while they're going through the ship, because they fan out a little bit, but not too far, the captain says, the Admiral, Christie, and the captain come across these little things. And these are what they say are power cells, what they think is power cells. Christie gets really close to one of them. Now, I just want to say, as soon as I saw this, I had two thoughts. One, looks like a butthole. Look at that. It just looks like a butthole. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't get towards anything that looked like a butthole if it's in space. And second, I go, this looks like also like a flower. And what do flowers do? But they bloom. Okay. Those were my two thoughts. The first one was, I was like, that looks like a butthole. Especially right there. That was like a blue waffle. Anyways, so of course he gets all close to it like a big idiot and it opens up. And I was like, oh, I knew that was going to happen, Christie. You don't get close to crap like that. You don't do it. But he did it anyways. And he's like, oh, and everything. Now, me personally, as soon as I did that, I personally, even if it was here on Earth, if I got close to something like that, it just went in my face, I'd be like, I need to go to the hospital. And he's all like, it opened up and everything. So then they leave and they go back to the Orville. And while they're talking about the ship and everything, Admiral Christie, he like, well, we're going to do and everything. And she's like, Paul. And they run over and she's like, help me turn him over. He's having a seizure. And they turn him over and he's all, ooh, that makes me itch. I don't like this part. It's good makeup effects, but it made me itch the whole time. Every time they showed him, I was like, oh my gosh. And she's like, oh my God. And so they take him back to the med bay, sick bay. And she's all like, it's rewriting his DNA at an accelerated rate. And that's making me itch so much. I can't look at it. So then they go back to, and they're like, he was exposed. I'm so itchy now to those power cells in the thing. So they go back to the alien vessel and they go back in and they get up close to the flower butthole and it opens up. And of course, stuff came out of it, little microbes or whatnot. And I'm like, of course it did. A, it's a science fiction show and that's what needs to happen. And B, come on, think pollen. It's like pollen. At least that's what I do. Please don't get in the comment section to be like, pollen is not okay. Don't get please don't be that way. Please don't be that way. Okay. Don't nitpick. All right. I'm not nitpicking at this show. Okay, don't nitpick at me because it's well written. And then they realize that the distress signal is no longer distress signal. It's sending out a calling signal, like to another ship, like, hey, we've got prey. Then back on the Orville, he's really getting all Zorgified, like all Zorgified and everything. And oh, that makes me itch with the 3 eyeballs right there, and then the big eye. I don't like it. I mean, I like it, but I don't like it, if you know what I'm saying. So she comes out. I'm just gonna focus on her. She's way pretty, and he's all like, he's talking about how he doesn't want to die and he's scared. She's all like, listen, just hold on. We're gonna try to fix this kind of thing. And he doesn't want to be alone. He tries to give her his ring, and she's like, no. And she puts it on his finger, and she's like, for good luck. And so they come back, and the ship is starting to come back, and they're like, yeah, he was exposed to some stuff. Is there any way we could synthesize something? She's like, I don't know. It's rewriting his whole DNA. I don't think so, kind of thing. Well, then she turns around and he's gone. She's like, oh crap. So then they're trying to get through, and the ship starts shutting down. And Boris is getting locked out of all systems because the admiral has top level codes, and he's shutting down the whole ship. I'm like, Captain, look, and the ship shuts down completely, like all of it, except for like life support. So this little helper, who's not wearing a red shirt, but he should have been. And then she goes to check on her kids and everything. And then he's all like, a doctor. And he goes into the hallway, which I'm also like, bad decision, dude. You don't go in the hallway. You try to shut that door. That's what I would have done. As soon as that guy left, I'd have been like, and the ship went dark, I'd have been like, I'm going to go and try to lock this door. So he comes across the clothes of the admiral, and he turns around, and there's the creature. And they did a good job with these, it is practical effects, and it's when they're moving and it's not CGI, it's, obviously a dude in a suit kind of thing. You can tell, but it's still really cool. I really liked it. And they later on describe it as like a spider. And I was like, that's a good description kind of. So then they're all like, we're going to have to manually dock the ship. So they get in there. And they're, this is the doctor. She goes back to her. She's like, boys, are you in here and everything? And I'm all like, of course they're not. They're children. Children are stupid. Don't listen. Don't be like, because I hate it when people are like, oh, children are smarter than you think. I'm like, no, they're not. They're not. They are not. They barely know where their nose is. Okay. They are not smart. They don't know anything, especially teenagers. Like my kids are toddlers, so of course they don't know anything because they haven't had any lived experience. But teenagers think they know everything, and they really don't have any lived experience. Yeah, they're all like, this is my house. I'm like, really? Is it? No, this is my house. You just live here. I don't try to shove that in your face. I'm just saying. So they're trying to get out this power cell from a stunner, and he's all like, just twist it. And she's like, because she's all like, man, they really jammed this in there. And he's like, just twist it and it should pop right out. And she's all like, I did, it's not coming out. And he's like, and then he goes, if it doesn't pop out right away, it means you're doing it wrong. She's like, thanks and everything. And then the captain comes in. He's all like, what's doing? And he's like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm trying to get this power cell out. And he's all like, well, if it doesn't pop out right away, it means you're doing it wrong. And I was like, So then back in engineering, Lamar is trying to, get all this stuff. They're trying to get the power back on, but they can't get it on. So he says he needs to check every engineering conduit, which means and he needs to do it manually because they can't figure out which power cell to do it on and everything. So, but there's 132 of them. So he needs to check those so he can get auxiliary power back on. And Isaac goes with him, which is a good thing because Isaac is, basically a high-powered robot and everything. So the boys, they come across two. They're in the mess hall, and they come across two of the spider creatures. And he's crawling across the wall, and they're running like Jurassic Park style and everything. very suspenseful because I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, they're gonna get him. And I was thinking, and a small piece of me was like, yeah, get those little kiddos. And they're all like, oh, and everything. And it's this guy, it's a red shirt. And he's like, hey, come on, I'll take you back to your quarters. He's like, no, there's a monster in here. And he's all like, you guys, there's no monster and everything. And then he's up on the wall. I don't know if you can really see it. This is kind of dark. I'll try to lighten it. And he turns around, he's like, oh, and there's the creature. He's like, ah, and everything, and it jumps on him. And I was like, oh, it's gonna spit on him. And that's exactly what it does. It spits on him, and he's like, ah, and then he starts to transform like immediately. Oh, he's all Zorgified and everything with the teeth and everything. And he's like, ah, like even his ribs, look at his ribs are changing, everything, like right on the spot. He like transformed into a gross bug like instantly. And then the thick creature looks at them and they're like, ah, and everything. They run into their mom and she's like, boys, I told you to stay in the quarters if anything happens. And of course the teenager was like, I'm not just gonna stare out and look at a window full of blank stars and everything. And I was like, oh, you're so stupid, kid. Teenagers. Oh, am I right? I'm right. Anyways, so they're talking about how it's rewriting the DNA of all the crew members and they need to figure out something to do. So Lamar is checking the conduits and he finally gets auxiliary power back on. And while he does that, he's going through the things and he runs into a creature and it's chasing through them. And this is very Aliens to me, like, Ripley and everything. And it catches his foot, but he turns on this little valve, and I don't know what that is. We'll just say nitrogen, and gets away, but he's running from two of them in the hallway. And this was very cool. And he runs into the brig and he turns on one of the cells, and they can't get through. They're just bumping into it. They're like boom, 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 boom. And I thought this was very cool, very good in creature, like as to associate how these creatures are. Like they're very much like just nonstop. They're just like, we are going to get our prey, and they're not going to stop until they do it. Kind of like the Borg, but more, insect like, which I liked it a lot. I like these creatures. I see the new baddies for this season. So Kaylee comes in and she's like, hey, so they start chasing her, but she's got her super strength, because her species, has their super strength and everything. She chases them into this cargo bay and she starts fighting. She starts kicking their bow ties. She's like, you want a piece of me? And she kills, she kills him. And Isaac is going through the hallway and he runs across one, but because he's not a living organism, he's not a person. That's debatable. The creature doesn't try to turn him. He doesn't spit on him. And I don't think if it did spit on him, it would do anything. There's no organic tissue here. So yeah, I don't think it would do anything. And then he comes across Lamar and he's like, hey, get me out of here. And he does. So they're trying to get everything going. And the doctor's all like, I need a live specimen to really come up with anything. And she's like, hey, I brought you something. I was like, yeah, you did, girl power and everything. I'm not mocking the show for girl power. I'm just saying, girls get things done. Girls get it done. There we go. So then they have a ship coming in, and it's far off, and they get a closer look of it. And this is the ship, and you can tell this is the alien ship because it's got these little things here, which is kind of like what the aliens had at the front of their mouth and everything. So it's like, okay, cool. So then back at the thing, she's like, it's completely rewritten their DNA 100%, except she's like, there's some white blood cells. So they might not have changed to the point where their immune system is fully developed. And she's like, and that's where we can take advantage of them. She's like, I can develop a virus, no worse than the common cold, to inject into the atmosphere. And then it'll kill them. And then Bortus is all like, will it affect the crew? And she's like, no worse than the sniffles. And he's like, I can handle that. And I love Bortus. I hope Bortus gets an episode of his own this season, like, because I feel like the Doctor has really gotten 2 episodes. Like that first episode was a little Doctor heavy, and this one is a little Doctor heavy. I'm not saying Dr. Finn's a good character. I'm just saying, there's other crew members. I'm just saying. Anyways, she's like, listen, I can create this virus. We can send it out and it'll kill the creatures. And I like how Gordon is all like, yeah, well, because the captain's all like, listen, they didn't choose to do this. We're just going to kill them. You know, we're just gonna I'll give him over to death. And Gordon's like, listen, it's either us or them, and I choose us. I'm like, yeah, Gordon, I'm on board with Gordon. I think he's probably my favorite character. But she's like, listen, maybe Paul, there's some part of him that's still in there, you know, and I can talk to him because we had a relationship, we were married. Maybe I can talk to him and get them to leave. Me personally, I'd have been like, no, you don't let an enemy this bad go. You kill them because they'll just come back later. So I say release the cold into the atmosphere, get rid of them just right off the bat, and then keep the bodies and study it so you can help fight the other ones of them. So like, all right, do it. Go talk to them. Go have a little combo. So they go out and they kill a bunch of them with their phasers and stuff. And she comes into the thing and she's like, Paul, it's me, Claire. I have to talk to you. And he shows up and everything. And she's like, you need to hear what I have to say. Your life depends on it. We found a weakness in your biology, and I've created a virus, and you won't survive, any of you. We're prepared to use it if you don't leave the Orville immediately. There's a ship headed our way, and we know it's one of yours. Take your people and go. Paul, if any small piece of you is in there, I want you to try to remember what we were together. Remember how stubborn I am, or I was? Well, that hasn't changed. Take your people and go. But I swear, we will destroy every last one of you. And then the Paul creature, you know, he's listening, and then he's all like, not Paul anymore. You will see you. And she's like, what do you mean? She's like, you will be of us. And I'm all like, Paul, did you not just hear what she said? And then she says, she goes, fin to the bridge, prepare to release the toxin, start with engineering tech. And he looks up and he's like, yeah, and everything. And it goes throughout the ship, and all these creatures like, and everything. And then he says to her, he's like, we go, not forever. And then he runs off, and they crawl. And I'm like, how did they get them off the ship? Like, did they let them have a shuttle? Did they just float into space? I don't know. But I was like, you know, whatever. So then back at this little Manelli's bar, or whatever it's called. Don't get mad at me because that's not the name of it. I just don't remember. Okay. Isaac comes in, and he's like, she's like, Isaac. And he's like, I'm checking in on you. I have observed that when a crew member aboard the Orville endures a traumatic occurrence, other members of their immediate social construct inquire how they are doing. How are you doing? Inquire how they're doing. And she's like, that's true. And he's like, how are you doing? And she's like, I'm okay. And then he's like, okay. And then he starts to leave and everything. And I can't remember what he says after that. And I didn't write it down. I'm sorry. You guys are going to get so mad at me. But she's like, I miss you, Isaac. And he's like, I miss you too. And then that's where the episode ends. And like I said before, this was a really good episode. It was very like trekking in that sense. And I really appreciate it. And I really liked it a lot. It was suspenseful. I got scared a couple of times when the flower butthole opened. I was like, oh, and then the first time the creature showed up, I was all like, I jumped because I was all like, I knew it was going to happen, but I should have expected it and everything. But I still was all like, and everything. I didn't scream out loud like that, but you're all like, yeah, you did. And whatever. Sure you did. Pussy. But I really liked this episode, you guys. I thought it was really good. I can't wait to see more of this season. This show, this is how I wish New Trek would have done their seasons like this. I wish they would have taken a cue from the Orville and from Seth MacFarlane, and just how people want to see shows like this. This is what we want to see. We want to see, and yeah, it just I just really wish they would have done it like this, but it's fine. It's fine that they didn't. They're doing their own thing over at Star Trek, ruining it. But yeah, okay. I hope you guys liked this breakdown a lot better than the last one. I put in the work. I hope you appreciate it. If not, I totally get it. I'm totally open to criticism. I am not one of these people. Like, you guys gave me your thoughts in the comments section down below of my last video. I appreciated it. I took it to heart. I wasn't like, as soon as I saw a comment, was like, motherfucker, fuck you and everything. I was just like, you're right. I wasn't prepared. I wanted to get the video out and everything. And I was under a lot of stress. So I was just like, I didn't take down notes. Plus I wasn't feeling too well and I was tired. Yeah. All these excuses. I don't want to hear your excuses. Get it together, Matt, and everything. But okay, so listen, that's my breakdown review. I hope you guys liked it. Tell me what you guys thought about this episode. If you didn't like it, you're crazy bones, but whatever. Hey, cool. Tell me what you guys think. Leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go to hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on my next breakdown and review of the Orville. You guys have a good week. May the force be with you. Bye.